They're finally here. The Cicia and Seed banner has been live for a few nights now, and I've spent as much time as possible inside Cissia so I can give you the best advice that I can. Now we're a few days into the banner, I know, but I found it dishonest to try to give you pull advice based off of my day one limited experience, and so now that I've had several days to grind, I can give you my pull advice and recommendations with confidence. So we're going to first go through reasons I've heard against pulling these agents, then I'm going to tell you why you should pull for Cissia or Seed. Then we're going to talk about my pull recommendations based off of your player positioning, if you're a new player or returning player, and then we'll talk about the odds that you're up against for those pull recommendations. And if you're still unsure after all of this, I'll finally plug a few resources that can help you decide. Alright, so first I'm going to address common arguments I hear against pulling Cissia or Seed. So first thing I hear are meta arguments or power creep concerns. Now I know I'm your resident Seed main, but I am not being paid to shill any of these agents. I think this argument's weak. So the value of meta discussion is to stay current and to keep updated with the current strategies and trends that are going on within the game. The reason you want to keep with the meta is so that you don't fall behind. You don't want to get to the next reset of Shield Defense or Deadly Assault and not be able to clear the content and get maximum rewards. Now context is always important. There's two opposite ends of the meta discussion spectrum. There's simply clearing content to get maximum rewards, and then there's high scores at lowest investments and, min-maxing your builds. I find it more valuable to talk about simply getting your maximum rewards, and so in that context, I think this is a very weak argument. Cicia and Seed out the gate are able to clear just fine, even with low investment teams, as we're going to go on to discuss here. Now, probably the next most common reason I hear against pulling Cicia Seed are, I already own an electric DPS. Well, guess what? They're not as powerful or as useful as Cicia or Seed, and I really believe that. The current electric DPS options we have are not incredibly powerful, they're a little dated, and they're not nearly as modernized as Cissia. I mean, Cissia has Ether Veil in her kit. I mean, I think they're going to do something with it eventually with further synergy. I think it's foreshadowing, so I think more to come. So yeah, there's a lot of electric attacker agents in the game already, but I don't think that their roles overlap that well, and honestly, if you're boiling down the gameplay and team building in this game to just, attribute agent teams up with similar attribute agent, I don't think you're thinking about team building in the most productive way. There's a lot more depth than just pairing up types in this game. One of the most common questions I've been asked in the past few weeks are, can this agent team with that agent when their only similarity is having electric typing? I mean, it's just not as important. Synergy trumps all. Case in point, if you've been playing Orphe Seed for the past several months, then you've been playing a fire electric team with no issue. It's all about their kit synergy and how they vibe together. And finally, the last most common thing I hear is 3.0 is around the corner and I just want Starlight Billy or I want Promia. That's 100% valid, and I'm not going to argue with you on that. If you love a certain agent and like their vibe and are anticipating them, full save, guarantee that agent, and make sure that nothing gets in your path. I will never argue with someone wanting to save for their favorite agent. So now why should you pull for Cicia and Seed? My experience from the past couple days has led me to strongly believe that these are an awesome team together. So top reason, instant team unlocked. I mean, this is a team in a box. They're ready to go. If you pull Cicia and you pull Seed, you have other agents on your account already, like Nicole can team with them just fine. Astra, Dylan, Sana, you could just put so many third slot agents with them, and this team is going to still be able to clear. I mean, even with a 2-cost Seed Cissia team, with me having 2 days of gameplay of Nicole and this team under my belt, I was able to almost reach 30k with just that team. The second main reason that I would pull for Cicia and Seed are how beginner friendly they are, but while still having such a high skill ceiling. I mean, this team, if you want it to be easy and a day one team, as simple as following the quick assist prompts. They give so many quick assist prompts, especially Cissia, that honestly you could be just swapping constantly. I mean, that's not optimal gameplay, and you'll find that out and get a feel for it, but as a baseline, I mean, just with the iframes, invincibility frames that both Cissia and Seed have on their moves, coupled with the amount of quick assists that they're getting, I mean, you're moving a lot, it feels fun, and it's pretty easy to pull off. But on the opposite end of the spectrum, there's a lot of room for optimization. You can push this team as far as you want. I've seen some pretty insane low-cost clears. Now, my third big argument for pulling Cicia or Seed is that I think that they are future-proof. I know that future-proof is a meme in the gacha context, but hear me out. Their kits are really hard to replicate unless you're trying to one-to-one replace them or power creep the actual character. Cissia is a quick swap electric DPS who has buffing capabilities. Seed's core passive is one of the best in the games, in my opinion. Flower Chain Protocol, that's what gives you the Vanguard buff as a teammate. I mean, an electric DPS that buffs is already a rare archetype to begin with, and we have two of them who team perfectly together. So I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with for a long time to come. All right, now we talked some concepts. Now we're going to do a table. You guys know I love my matrices and tables. So I have this decision matrix set up as across the top, we're looking at the position that you're in as a player going into the banner for the categories of a new player, day one, month one player, someone with no seed on their account, and someone who already has seed on their account. The two rows of information we're going to discuss are pull value and decision difficulty. Now that decision difficulty is going to assume you have enough pulls, because that is a complete next layer of decision making, and I can give you some odds on the next slide to help you with that. So first, if you're a new player, I think they have very high pull value. Like I said, they're a team in a box. Day one, if you're able to get Cicia and get Seed, level them up, and slap some free-to-play engines on them. I've been running Starlight Engine on Seed and Drill Rig Red Axis on Cissia without issue. Now what if you're going into this banner and you already pulled Seed on the last run? Well, very high pull value. I mean, I don't need to say much more. Cissia is an excellent partner for Seed, as we've been seeing over and over and over again. And you're still fine if you don't want to pair with Seed. I've seen plenty of 30, 40k plus Deadly Assault clears with full Cissia teams that don't involve another attacker or a DPS. And now what if you're a returning player and you don't have Seed? I'm still going to say the pull value is high. Objectively speaking, they're powerful agents, and I think they'll be good for any account. Alright, now let's talk about decision difficulty. If you're a new player, I think this is an easy yes. Like I said, it's a team in a box. They're easy and fun to play, and there's tons of skill expression that you can have with these agents. However, I will say if your concern is purely for most powerful and you just want to stay up to date, then if I were you, I would save for 3.0 agents. Now what if you already have Seed on your account? Should you pull for Cissia? I think the value, while it's still high, it's very account dependent. It's going to depend on if you already have a fully built team for Seed and what other gaps you need filled. So review and think carefully about that. Lastly, if you don't have Seed on your account already, this is the hardest position to be in. This is going to be a vibe pull for the most part. I mean, you either like Cicia and Seed and their overall vibe and you really want to play them as a team, so full send, go ahead and pull them. And if you're not into them, then I would just go ahead and save for 3.0. There's going to be a lot of new exciting things coming with new Void Hunter. I've heard about Wind Element. There's just a ton of things on the horizon to save for, so be smart. And finally, your next natural question after we talk about pull recommendations is, can I afford it? So I've put together a simple table just kind of showing a few scenarios of pulls and the expected average number of pulls it will take to reach the different confidence levels. I modeled this by taking into account the 90 pulls for pity for an agent, 80 pulls for Wenjin, and then factoring in the increased odds that you get after a certain point within those banners. Alright, so what's an expected average? How do you interpret this table? Let's take scenario A, just one agent. What this is saying is if you were to have a very large sample size of total number of pulls it took to get your first agent, on average, 50% of the time, it would take you 105 total pulls to be able to get that agent. So that's what that's implying. So 95% confidence, it would take you on average 154 pulls. And then on 100% is simply the guarantee. So an example conclusion statement from this table would be for scenario D, if I wanted to pull 2 agents and get 1 Wenjin for a 95% confidence that I will have success, it will take on average 370 total pulls. Now that's not to say it's going to take at least that, or that's a threshold amount. Nothing about that. I mean, you could, pull in 3 total pulls, you could win each one consecutively. The odds of that are insane, but still it's possible. So make sure you understand this table, ask any questions if you need more clarity, and I'm always around to help. So, should you pull Cicia and Seed? I think so. But if you need a little bit more help deciding, I've got a lot of resources linked in the description to answer any specific question you might have. And also consider joining the Discord. We've got a lot of people there who can help out and love to talk about seed, Cicia, theory crafting all day. Good luck on your pulls, and I'll see you soon.